How's everybody doing today? So I just got back from a ride where I recorded a whole video, and for whatever reason, my screen looked terrible the entire time. So we're gonna do this from the garage so I can talk about what I just talked about on this ride. We're gonna take a look at this bike here today, so hopefully you can get a good glimpse of what we got going on. This is the Yamaha R7 that you saw me riding before. Now, I like this bike. This bike is being super fun. Now, I got my notes here so we can bring up what I was talking about. This will be a quick little video about the cost of owning one of these bad boys. I got my notes here on the phone. Don't worry about it. Let's get into it. So, obviously, if you're going to get into riding motorcycles, you got to buy a motorcycle. Now, the cost of one of these can really vary depending on what you're going to get. So, if you want to get a super fast sports bike, they're kind of expensive. If you want to, R7, brand new, they're like, I think I paid a little over 10. And you can buy a used one, probably like 8,500 to 9K, maybe less than that with some more miles on it. It really is going to vary depending on what type of bike you want to get. If you want a sport bike, if you want a naked bike, you want a cruiser bike, you kind of just have to look at it. I would recommend getting a used bike. Don't be like me. I'm dumb. I went and bought this thing brand new from the dealership. I just gave him a check and the title is mine. So you're going to have to do your own research on how much the bike that you want is going to cost. Next up, we got maintenance cost. A lot of people don't think about this, but if you're going to be doing your own maintenance on one of these, you're going to need, obviously, tools to maintain it, which is going to include some of these bad boys. You're going to want some bike stands. You're going to want things like a torque wrench, normal wrenches, pliers, screwdrivers, hex heads. So there's a lot of hex heads on this, especially these Japanese sport bikes. It's pretty much all hex heads and the little plastic clips. So take a look at what kind of tools you're going to need. Take a look at getting some bike stands. You don't have to get super expensive ones. I think these are Extreme Max. They're probably from China. Who knows? But it lifts the bike and it does what I needed to do. All right. So now maintaining your bike, depending on what all you're going to be doing, you're going to have to do some oil changes. You're going to have to upkeep your chain, which is going to include things like chain cleaner and chain lubricant and some sort of brush to clean off your chain. And then, like I said again, the tools to do that. Now, next up, we got upgrades. It's inevitable. You're going to put upgrades on this thing. So, like, I got frame sliders. I got fender eliminator. I got rear spools for the stands. We got a whole exhaust on here. You're going to do upgrades eventually. Now, this is kind of subjective. You don't have to upgrade your bike, but it's there. You're going to do it eventually, but it's not required. So you can kind of skate by and do it when you can afford it. So, but it is one thing to look at of what you're going to want to do in the future with your bike. Upgrades. All right. We got tools. Gear. That's a big one. I'm not the gear police. Ride however you want. Ride however you feel comfortable. You're going to want a helmet. You're going to want some sort of protection. Usually every time I ride, I'm wearing a helmet. I'm wearing gloves. I'm wearing boots, which I'm still in. NBT pants. Not a big fan of these, but It is motorcycle pants, and then some sort of jacket. You can kind of gauge what kind of gear you want based off your, what you can afford. You don't have to go buy the most expensive gear there is, but I wouldn't go on Amazon and go crazy with the Chinese helmets. Kind of invest in your in yourself. Just get the best gear that you can afford, and then obviously whatever looks the coolest, right? I actually do have another helmet. This is maybe an option for you if a helmet has not been crashed in. It's pretty easy to tell if it's been crashed in. People sell helmets on Facebook. Kind of sketchy, I get it, but I did buy HGC helmet. It was literally brand new. The guy wore it like one time, and I got it for $50. It's an option if you want to save money. Just make sure that it has not been crashed in. All right, let's see. What else we got? Tools. Like I said, you want bike stand, torque wrench, stuff like that. Insurance. You got to pay for insurance. Some people don't pay for insurance. Insurance is kind of hard for me to tell you what the cost is going to be because it really depends on what kind of bike you have, what your driving record is, where you live at, if you're married. I'm not an insurance quoter, so I can tell you that it was a lot cheaper than I thought it was going to be. I think I pay around $600 for the year for insurance. I do have liability because it is what it is. If you're doing full coverage insurance on a bike, this is another reason I recommend getting a used bike and paying cash for it, because then you don't have to put full coverage on it. Because typically, if you're buying a brand new bike from the dealership and you are financing that bike or financing a car, they're going to require you to have full coverage insurance. If you own the bike, you can put liability on it. Obviously, you don't have full coverage if you crash it, but it does save you some money if you put liability on it, and it is legal. All right, last up that we had to talk about was the MSF course, the Motorcycle Safety Whole Riders course. It ranges anywhere from like $200 to $300. It's typically a multi-day kind of thing where you go out and they teach you all the motorcycle basics. They teach you about how to react to traffic, how to do certain turns, all the techniques and stuff. It is a very good investment if you are a person that is new to motorcycling, and you don't know anything and you don't have anybody to teach you, and you go through an MSF course, then they teach you a lot of the stuff that you wouldn't normally think about. It's a really, really good investment. It's not required. If you're going to get your motorcycle license, they help you get it. Like if you take the MSF course, you will automatically get your motorcycle license from doing that. So it is a good option versus going to the, driver center or whatever it's called and taking a test through them. And that's really about it. You're going to have to kind of do your own research on what certain things cost for the certain bike that you want to get. Obviously, maintaining one of these versus maintaining a older bike that may have some sort of problems is going to be different. This is a new bike. It's going to have less problems. Just make sure that you look at what you're getting into. Make sure to look at all the cost and understand everything that you possibly could spend money on. You probably are. These things are money pits, but it is worth it in the end if you want to get into motorcycling. It is the greatest time ever. And that's all I had on my list here for today. So if you have any questions, leave them down in the comments below. We're going to start this thing up for you so you can hear it, because this thing is just a monster. And I just went on a ride, and you guys missed a whole like 20 minutes of footage. But it is what it is. It happens. Let's hear this thing. I don't want to run it too long, you know, I am in the garage. Might kill myself here. Gotta love it. Anyway, thank you guys for watching. If you have any questions, comments, leave them down below. I appreciate everybody who tuned in for the last video. Thank you to all the new subscribers, and peace. We'll see you next time.